traveled to an ordinary ancient farmhouse, a thin field of 5 acres, 2 dilapidated houses. The original owner had been foolish for many years and was full of brute force. His parents had no special skills, and the young son-in-law who had just entered the door was a thin and weak pork rib with a bewildered expression when he saw anything looking at the nest in her hand. Jiang Misha was ready to roll up her sleeves and work hard. Unexpectedly, the little son-in-law went up the mountain to chop firewood and pick up silver, went down the river to fish and pick up pearls, and made a lot of money from doing business. He even made it to the imperial examination list for several times. Jiang Misha was stunned and said, "Where did the agreed female lead get rich? Starry Carp, Song Jingyun. Let me handle these things, just lie down and win keywords. Farming, double wearing, 1v1, striving, getting rich, relaxed, daily life, sweet pet, cultivation, imperial examination, koi, su shuang, family background, main warmth, light and top. Quality, no system aerial, not particular, everything serves the plot." The recommended author has completed the work of farmer's stepmother, skilled farming, eldest sister, she is a wealthy party, taste fragrance, and little cute daughter-in-law in charge of the family. Now, it is said that reborn abandoned wife turns over. Warm Book Friends Group, 399599543, welcome to join keywords of the novel. Nongmen Xianggong is a koi without pop-ups. Nongmen Xianggong is a koi with no pop-ups. Complete download of TXT. Nongmen Xianggong is the latest chapter of koi reading. Chapter 1. Fool Jiang Misha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Fool Jiang Misha. The 3 words, Jiangjia village, have been frequently mentioned in recent days. Because of 3 things. The first thing is that Jiang Yucheng from Jiangjia village recruited a son.in law to his foolish daughter Jiang Misha. The second thing is that on the day of the wedding, the crossbeam of the greenhouse built in the yard broke, hitting only the groom and bride who were toasting to the guests. The third thing is that Jiang Misha, who was originally foolish, was smashed. Not only was there nothing wrong, but she also seemed to have become much more sophisticated after waking up. It is said that she can recognize people, call her father or mother, and even work. Some people think this third thing is unreliable. It's fortunate to have narrowly escaped death. Can a fool still be smashed with just one blow? If that's the case, those who don't have a good brain on weekdays should go and smash it. What kind of doctor is needed? If there are doubts in my heart, I will naturally seek confirmation. So recently, there have been people running to Jiangjia village, specifically going to the vicinity of Jiang Yicheng's house for a stroll. Look, it's true, isn't it, that people are not stupid? They are clean and tidy, and their hair is not messy. They don't run around and shout around. Do you know how to scoop water with a ladle and drink it slowly, without giving it to your nose? Look, you still know how to scoop water and feed chickens. This doesn't necessarily mean that people are not stupid anymore. There is a foolish woman in our village who can't drink water from her nostrils, wears well-dressed clothes, and can feed chickens and pigs. However, she is still foolish, completely foolish, and almost burned down her home when cooking. A group of people pointed and commented, as if watching a monkey show. 8-year-old Jiang Chunyu emerged from the side and said, "Let me tell you, my 6th sister is really not foolish at all. If you don't believe me, look. Sister 6, come on." Jiang Misha put down the water ladle in her hand and walked up to the low wall. She chuckled and said, "What are you calling me for?" Jiang Chunyu took 3 copper coins from his arms, placed them in piles on the left and 2 on the right, and said with a smile, "There are 2 piles of money here. Sister Lu should take the one with more. There's a lot of this, I'll take this." Jiang Misha reached out and grabbed a penny, chuckling at Jiang Chunyu. "Let me tell you, my 6th sister is not stupid at all." Jiang Chunyu covered her mouth and smiled. His face was full of embarrassment. The crowd burst into laughter upon seeing the situation. Some people find it fun, just like Jiang Chunyu. They took 3 copper coins from their arms and asked Jiang Misha to choose, which one is more. You can take whichever one is more. This is a lot. Jiang Misha reached out again and picked up a penny. Everyone laughed again, and someone tried again, even putting them in the order of 1-1, 5-1, 1-1, or more than 10-1. No matter how many times she tried, no matter how much money there was in the other pile, Jiang Misha still only took that 1 penny. After taking it, she still grinned and said, "This is the most." After repeating this several times, everyone had already laughed back and forth. Jiang Misha is really a fool. Who will say that Jiang Misha is not foolish in the future? Who am I in a hurry with? Jiang Misha seemed to be unable to understand what they were saying, and when she saw everyone laughing, she followed suit and laughed. Playing with fools is naturally enjoyable, but if you play for a long time and only use the same way to play, it feels a bit boring. After a while of laughter, everyone gradually dispersed. Only Jiang Chunyu did not leave. Seeing no one around, Jiang Chunyu finally leaned in and said, "So, Sister Six, did I perform well today?" "Not bad." Jiang Misha nodded confidently and counted the copper coins she had just stuffed into her arms. Seeing more than 10, she counted 5 and handed them to Jiang Chunyu. "These are yours. 5-1 is enough to buy 2 large meat buns." Jiang Chunyu happily accepted it. "Thank you, Sister Six. This is what you deserve. Hurry up and go home. Auntie, it's time to find you later. Sister Lu, will I come back tomorrow? Look at some people, if there are many people, come and have more vision. As usual, you 3, I 7. Since some people are willing to come all the way to watch the monkey show, she also charges some ticket money, which is fair and just." "Delightful." Jiang Chunyu responded and ran away in a flash. Jiang Misha weighed the copper plate in her hand and walked back with a smile. Just as they picked up a water ladle to scoop water and wash their hands, Jiang Yucheng and Lu returned from farming. "Father, Mother." Jiang Misha shook the drops of water on her hand. "When congee has been cooked on the stove, I will serve it to my parents. I'm going to prepare a meal, you need to take a break," Lu said with trembling lips, tears almost falling from her eyes. "Amitabha Buddha, blessed by Bodhisattva, my daughter is really getting better and better day by day. On the day when the roof beam fell, she was really scared out of her wits. She thought she was just this precious little one, and God was going to take her away. She cried so hard that she almost lost her breath." Unexpectedly, after only half a day, Jiang Misha woke up and would call out to her parents, knowing where she was hurting. "The next day, I will change my clothes, put on shoes, eat and drink water myself. The 3rd day, that is today, I will watch the house and cook congee. The doctor said it was probably because when I was a child, I knocked my head and accumulated blood in my head that I became foolish. Now that I knocked my head again and the blood has dispersed, this person has become better." Some people also say that the Bodhisattva at the head of the temple saw Lu Shi burning incense and praying for blessings every month, and was moved by her sincerity, which revealed her spirit and made Jiang Misha better. But no matter what the reason is, if the girl recovers, whether she is foolish or not, that is a great good thing. A good thing that makes people feel so happy that they want to cry. Lu's excited tears swirled in her eyes, but she also tried to hold back the tears from falling. However, Jiang Yucheng beside her couldn't control her emotions and started crying loudly. A 6-foot-strong man, crying with a runny nose and tears, his shoulders shrugged and looked pitiful. "Dad, don't cry." Jiang Misha felt a bit embarrassed. Having occupied the daughter's body, she felt guilty and grateful. In addition, she felt that since she had already lost her soul, she would use this identity to live with others in the future. Jiang Misha felt that there was no father or mother to work in the field, and she was free to eat and drink at home. So she tried to cook a pot of congee, waiting for Jiang Yucheng and Lu family to come back and not have to be busy cooking. She never expected that the couple would react so strongly. Stop crying and scare the child again. Upon seeing Lu speak, Jiang Yuqing stopped breathing and wiped away his tears. Stop crying, Xiaoxia has recovered. It's a happy thing. You should laugh, you should laugh. After speaking, he grinned. Her eyes were red, and tears were still hanging on her face. At this moment, she forcefully tugged at the corner of her mouth and looked a bit ugly. Well, laughing is worse than crying. Lu sure was not angry. Hurry to wash and rinse. There are still some leftovers after cooking the potherb cake at noon. Xiao Xia cooked congee. I'll go to mix another dish, and we are ready to eat. Ah. Jiang Yuqing responded. After a busy day, the food was served and the family of 3 began to eat. The potherb cake is made of potherb and mixed with thick stick flour kong. Some of it is dry, and the cold dish is also mixed with wild herb. Only some coarse salt is added to taste, and it tastes a little astringent. The only thing that can be tasted is the pot of congee made by Jiang Misha. Although it is coarse grain and the grain size is also large, it has been cooked for a long time and is sticky and thick, making every sip full of the fragrance of the stick. Jiang Yuqing and Lu naturally knew this, and they would add the thick ones from their own bowls to the Jiangmi summer bowl. Jiang Misha stood up with a bowl in her hand and calmly dodged over. Mom and Dad, let's eat first. I'll go inside the house and see Jingyun. Song Jingyun, the Prime Minister of Jiang Misha, was a young son-in-law who came to her home. Open a new book, Old Rules, Eating Guide, please make sure to read it one. This book is a relaxed farming article about family background, occasional sugar sprinkling, and slight abuse of dirt. It is a story of a young couple working together to get rich and embark on a prosperous path. The author will learn from past lessons such as slow pace and dull plot, and strive to grasp the rhythm and write more brilliantly. 2. Regarding updates. We have completed 6 long novels with a total word count of over 8 million words and no unique records. You can rest assured to enter the pit. The author works for the party and works part-time to code characters, but those who are familiar with the author know that the author is still very hardworking, with almost no record of taking leave or interrupting updates. The highest continuous update record is over 700 days, updated to a public period of 1 update every 2,000 words, with a tentative time of 7 o'clock a.m. every day. If there are any changes, we will notify you in a timely manner, and double updates will be added after listing. The listing time is yet to be determined. If recommended, an update will be added, and a reward of 10,000 yuan or a monthly pass of 30 will also be added. 3. Regarding typos. The author carefully checks every time they finish writing and before uploading, but there are always times when they can't catch all the bugs. I hope the little ones can help catch the bugs. After seeing the information, the author will correct it in a timely manner. 4. Regarding book review interaction. The author really enjoys receiving support from the cute little ones, so you can leave a message every day to let the author feel everyone's support, and the author will reply in a timely manner. If it's an abandoned article, don't leave a message, little cutie. The author is glassy-hearted, whimpering. 5. Because novels are novels, especially online novels, which were originally created for entertainment rather than realistic historical records, and often serve the plot, the author may also fabricate some things. Therefore, when reading novels, please do not be too particular about dynasties, clothing, prices, ingredients, etc., the author kowtowed here. 6. Finally, I hope everyone can support the author. Encoding is not easy, and I hope everyone can choose genuine reading to support the author. Thank you. All new books are being released, please collect them, please get recommended tickets. Group ID, 399595543, welcome to join the group. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. From Interstellar. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2 from Interstellar. Since the beam of the Xipan collapsed that day, Song Jingyun has been unconscious. The doctor came to see her twice and said it's not a big deal, so she should prepare for the aftermath as soon as possible. Due to this accident, the 996 social animal she was killed by a falling object on her way to work successfully crossed over to her original owner, but Song Jingyun was about to lose her life. Jiang Misha still felt that he was implicated in this matter. Moreover, Song Jingyun is only 15 years old, 1 year younger than the original owner who was 16 years old. If put in modern times, she is definitely a teenager who has just entered high school. It is truly pitiful to die young at such a young age. Jiang Misha felt a sigh in her heart and brought over a bowl of warm water. She was ready to feed some water if she could, and some rice if she could. In the days before Song Jingyun left, take good care of him. It can also be considered as fulfilling her duty as a mother. But before Jiang Misha could touch his lips with a spoonful of water, Song Jingyun, who was originally lying down, sat up vigorously. I'll go. Jiang Misha was taken aback and jumped up directly from the bed, almost dropping the spoon in her hand. After stabilizing her emotions, Jiang Misha boldly asked, "Are you awake? Or rather, this is a comeback." Upon hearing Jiang Misha's voice, Song Jingyun turned her head and looked at her, "Who are you?" After looking around, he asked again, "What planet is this?" Planet. Jiang Mi suddenly felt a mental shock. This thing. It's a bit interesting. Jiang Misha put down the bowl in her hand, sat down on a stool, and cleared her throat. This may be a complex problem, and it may be difficult to explain, but I think I can explain it slowly. If you listen slowly, you should still understand, she said. However, before explaining why you are here, I would like to ask you a few questions. After a few conversations, Jiang Misha roughly learned about the origin of Song Jingyun. The Ida V2 planet human from the Interstellar and peaceful galaxy is responsible for piloting spacecraft to wander the nebula near the planet, collecting energy bodies to maintain the normal operation of the planet. However, they suddenly encountered an asteroid impact and the spacecraft exploded. This explosion was the reason for Song Jingyun's time travel, but it was also a soul-piercing experience. Unlike Jiang Misha, he did not receive any memory of the original owner Song Jingyun. I see. Jiang Misha understood the general situation and had a slight understanding in her heart. Then, with about a cup of tea, she roughly explained his current situation to Song Jingyun. Through time, in the kingdom of Chu, Xingtai County, Jiangjia village, Song Jingyun, my son. In law. After reciting these key words for a while, Song Jingyun suddenly reached out to cover her stomach and frowned. What's wrong? Jiang Misha asked with concern. I don't know. Song Jingyun shook her head and spoke softly, I feel very uncomfortable in my stomach, as if the inside has been torn apart. Stomach pain. At that time, Song Jingyun was hit in the head by sheeping. If it was a pain, it was likely a headache. But soon, Jiang Misha heard a loud, gurgling sound. Okay, I already know the reason. Jiang Misha took up the bowl, took a spoon to scoop out the stick of grits congee. You are not feeling bad, you are hungry, just eat something. Come on, open your mouth. Faced with Jiang Misha holding a long-handled object in his hand, containing yellow, orange, and sticky liquid, he wanted to stuff it into his mouth. Song Jingyun was extremely resistant in her heart, only shaking her head desperately to refuse. What is this? Bonzi grits congee, food, food. Jiang Misha Itong explained, but Song Jingyun was very resistant, and some doubted, why, can't you not eat food in StarCraft? No need. How do you survive? Absorb energy from the body. Jiang Misha. Unknowingly fierce. Song Jingyun is now frowning at the congee in front of him. He really doesn't want to open his mouth. But the stomach is very uncomfortable. And the person in front of me, although not in the same era as myself, who is also a time traveler, looks very friendly. Song Jingyun's heart turned horizontal, her eyes closed, and she opened her mouth to swallow these things. The taste of stick grits spread in my mouth. It seems that it is not as painful as imagined, and there is also a hint of indescribable feeling. It cannot be said that I like it, but I absolutely do not dislike it. Song Jingyun instinctively swallowed the stick grits congee in his mouth and opened his mouth again. Ah. Jiang Misha. I suddenly felt like I was feeding a baby. However, in front of her, Song Jingyun knew nothing about this world. In terms of cognitive level, she was indeed similar to a baby and needed to be taught slowly. For example, teaching him how to eat. After feeding several mouthfuls of congee, Jiang Misha stuffed the spoon to Song Jingyun. Do you want to try it yourself? After hesitating for a moment, Song Jingyun took the spoon and said, okay. Recalling the action of taking a spoon to scoop congee just now, Song Jingyun tried to take the spoon and scoop the yellow stick grits congee into his mouth. The movements are clumsy, and some are scattered. However, after 2 or 3 times, I became more proficient. Even though my movements seemed stiff, I could still drink congee normally. Soon, half a bowl of congee made of bangsi grits came to an end. Song Jingyun held the empty bowl and looked at Jiang Misha eagerly. Clearly not full. I'll go and serve you some more. Jiang Misha took the empty bowl and left the room. How is Jingyun doing? Lu asked, can water be fed in? I woke up, replied Jiang Misha. I also drank half a bowl of congee. Wake up. Jiang Yucheng and his wife were immediately overjoyed. Amitabha Buddha, you have finally woken up. Lu Shi was so excited that she almost shed tears. Since we're awake, let's go in and take a look, Jiang Yucheng said. Let's say goodbye. Although he's awake, it feels like he's injured here, Jiang Misha pointed to her head. I'm afraid when my parents enter the house, the crowd will scare him again. Have people become foolish? Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi's happy expressions suddenly halved. I'm not particularly foolish either. I can talk, but I don't know who I am. I don't know many things and can't do things anymore. Jiang Misha said, but if you teach with your heart, you should still be able to teach. I just taught for a while, and now I can eat. Jiang Yucheng and Lu sighed. After a while, Jiang Yucheng spoke up and said, as long as a person wakes up, being foolish is nothing. Just teach slowly. As long as you are a complete person, you can help Jiang Misha with her work in the future. I think the same way. Teach slowly and it will be successful, Jiang Misha said. However, the doctor used to say that people can't be successful. Now that you're awake, let's go ask the doctor to come and see. After all, it's hurt to the end. Don't leave any disease roots behind. Well, that's what's going on. I'll go to the Yangshu village and ask the doctor. Jiang Yucheng finished snoring the last bite of the stick grits in his bowl and quickly left the door after putting it down. New book seeking care, tickets, and collection starting point readers need to invest as soon as possible. We have already gone through the signing process. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Lack of courage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Lack of courage. Lu Shi tidied up the dishes and chopsticks. Jiang Misha went into the kitchen and scraped the remaining congee from the pan. After some thought, I took 2 wild vegetable pancakes. It's really the old men who just drink thin and probably don't have enough to eat. Song Jingyun has been able to drink congee skillfully with a wooden spoon, and now he can do so without spilling a penny. Not bad, I learned very quickly. Jiang Misha praised and handed him wild vegetable pancakes. Eat some of this too, otherwise I'll be hungry again tonight. The potherb cake is black, and without the stick and grits congee, it looks appetizing. But since Jiang Misha said he would eat it, Song Jingyun still took it and sent it to his mouth. After chewing 2 mouthfuls, Song Jingyun frowned, looked at the wild vegetable cake in his hand, and then looked at the stick grits congee in the bowl. The same food has a slightly worse taste. But it's also possible that he just arrived here and doesn't get used to the taste of the so-called food. Song Jingyun didn't think much, just took each bite slowly. There are still 2 people at home, father and mother. Father, go and ask the doctor to see how your injury is. He will come back later. Jiang Misha advised, when the doctor comes, do whatever you are asked to do, and don't say anything extra. Song Jingyun nodded obediently. If you really don't know how to answer, just stop and don't answer. You just knocked your head and others think you're normal. Just remember one thing, don't show any abnormal behavior. If others find out you're not from here, they may pull you and burn you to death. Song Jingyun didn't quite understand the consequences of burning, but he could still understand the word death. In our galaxy, killing people casually is a violation of the law and will result in being imprisoned in the galaxy. Song Jingyun's voice was timid. Here, according to the law, we can be burned to death as an outsider. Jiang Misha glanced at him and spoke slowly. Song Jingyun's face changed and she said, I remember. Then, continue to nibble on wild vegetable cakes. But compared to when I just ate, my movements were a bit slower. It seems that although this little son.in.law comes from interstellar space, he is not very brave. Jiang Misha squinted her eyes. In no time, Jiang Yuqing brought the doctor over. Dr. Yang, he is already over 50 years old, with gray hair and beard. Seeing Song Jingyun, who was now able to sit straight and with a normal expression, she first clicked twice, then sat down and took her pulse seriously. After completing the pulse, I flipped Song Jingyun's eyelids and looked at the back of his head. Do you still feel a headache now? Dr. Yang asked. Song Jingyun shook her head slightly. Dr. Yang stroked his gray beard and said, I've been treating patients for more than 30 years, and it's the first time I've encountered such a rare thing. This person who doesn't seem to be able to handle things is actually very good at this moment. It's really unheard of. What the doctor means is, are you okay? Jiang Yuqing asked. It's okay now. It looks like the blood stasis in the head has dissipated. However, after being unconscious for so many days, there was still a lot of blood flowing at that time, and there was too much deficit on my body. I need to take good care of it for a few days. Dr. Yang opened the medicine box and took out some medicine powder. Our family is not well off, so don't drink this soup. These medicine powders should be applied to the back of the head wound every day. After 3 to 5 days of hard work, everything will be fine. I'll make some delicious food these days and give him an extra supplement. I made this medicine powder myself, it's not too expensive. Plus, if I come this way, you can give me 80 yuan. Thank you, doctor. Lu thanked and went into the east room to retrieve the money box. After a happy occasion at home and a series of consultations, the once heavy money box has now become somewhat light and ethereal. Lu counted 80 coins and looked at the remaining ones that couldn't even fit inside the money box. She sighed in her heart and gently closed the money box. After giving the money, Lu and Jiang Yuqing sent Dr. Yang out. I'll take good care of myself in the next 2 days. My mother will make some delicious food and make some supplements. Lu's face was full of love. Jiang Yuqing nodded, if you're not feeling well or need anything, tell Dad. The father and mother mentioned by these 2 Jiang Misha in front of him also seemed to be very friendly to him. Song Jingyun nodded lightly. Jiang Yuqing and his wife saw that although Song Jingyun looked naive, she was not completely silly either. Instead, it was like what Jiang Misha said. Although she was a bit foolish, there seemed to be some way to save her. It's getting late, parents should go to bed earlier. I'll just watch at night, Jiang Misha said. If there's anything, I'll call you guys again. Cheng. Jiang Yuqing and Lu Shi got up. At this moment, Song Jingyun covered her stomach again. Is your stomach uncomfortable again? Jiang Misha frowned, didn't you just have a meal? This time it's not hunger, it's feeling a bit bloated. Song Jingyun's expression twisted slightly. Inflation. After some thought, Jiang Yuqing quickly reached out to help Song Jingyun. Come on, get out of bed, I'll take you to the thatched cottage. A thatched cottage. Song Jingyun looked at Jiang Misha. Jiang Misha coughed lightly, feeling a bit embarrassed. Go ahead and listen to Dad's advice when you get there. Seeing Jiang Misha speak, Song Jingyun finally got up and got out of bed with the help of Jiang Yuqing. This body lay in bed for 3 days, without eating or drinking, with some weak legs and feet, walking unsteadily. Fortunately, with Jiang Yuqing's support, Song Jingyun was able to barely walk. Wang and his son-in-law walked leisurely towards the thatched cottage in the corner of the yard, and only returned after a long time. When he returned, Jiang Yuqing didn't have much to say. Song Jingyun's face turned a little red and she hid in bed when she returned to the room. After all, it's a private matter, and it's inevitable to feel a bit awkward. Jiang Misha deeply understood that in order to avoid embarrassing the timid Song Jingyun, she only urged her parents to rest earlier. After tidying up a bit, Jiang Misha was reminded to remember to call them if there was anything wrong at night. Jiang Yuqing and Lu Shi then returned to the east room. After a busy day, Jiang Yuqing was exhausted and snored heavily as his head touched the pillow. Lu tossed and turned, unable to sleep no matter what, and finally sat up with a sigh. Jiang Yuqing was awakened by this sigh and opened his eyes to see Lu sitting by the bedside. He also got up with a bone and bone. What's wrong with this? He has a worried face. Look at your son-in-law's appearance, he has to teach him how to eat, drink, and do things. His brain is really hurting him a lot. Oh, what's wrong with our family? My daughter happens to be like this, and my son-in-law has become like this again. Lu spoke and wiped away a tear. It's okay, I see he's learning quite quickly. I reckon he'll be fine in a while, Jiang Yuqing comforted. Besides, it's probably a good thing that this person is like this. If they have a lot of thoughts and come to our house thinking about things around them, it's not good. It's because of this kind of foolishness that we have raised ourselves. The best thing is to have the same heart as Xiaoxia in the future. After listening to her husband's words, Lu nodded after thinking for a moment and said, that's true. Those around her are not afraid, they are afraid of their son-in-law's elbow turning outside. Seeking collection and recommended tickets in addition. Although the new book is a bit short, I hope readers can catch up with the latest chapters every day and increase their clicks, because the website needs to track the daily follow.up. If the follow.up situation is not good, it will affect the recommendation of the work. If there is no recommendation, the grades will be bad, and poor grades will make the author very frustrated. If the author is very frustrated anyway, I hope everyone can help me by clicking on the latest chapters every day. Love you all. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Obedience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Obedience, that's what's going on. Jiang Yuqing patted Lu's arm. Hurry up and go to bed. I need to wake up early tomorrow and go cut some more thorns. I'll weave more thorns baskets these days. Jiang Yuqing has the skill of weaving baskets. He usually weaves some jingtiao baskets during his leisure time, and when he arrives at the market, he can exchange some silver for the town. Although he doesn't earn much, he is still enough to support his family. There have been continuous changes at home, and there are only a few copper coins left. We need to see some time to earn some money. By the way, tomorrow morning I'll steam an egg custard for Xiaoxia and Jingyun alone. Both of these children need to be well fed, Jiang Yuqing explained. Cheng. Lu nodded, 1.5 for each person. For such a big person, one may not be enough to eat. But with too much, I really can't come up with that much. You can watch and do it. Before Jiang Yuqing could finish speaking, his snoring began again. Lu also lay down. In the western room, Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun were lying on the same bed. Back to back. Although Jiang Misha knew that the other person was her future husband, she was still not used to lying in the same bed with someone she had just met. Even though she was feeling drowsy, she couldn't fall asleep at this moment. Song Jingyun couldn't sleep either. One reason is that this body has been asleep for a long time, and the other reason is that they have not fully accepted the idea of crossing over. The night was dark, and light shone through the window, creating a hazy atmosphere that made everything in front of me appear unreal. But the high and low sounds of insects outside, as well as the sensation of touching this thing called a quilt, all told him sincerely that he was in another time and space. A world completely different from one's hometown. Song Jingyun remained silent for a long time, lightly touching Jiang Misha with her elbow and asking in a low voice, "Can I still return to my own world?" "Most likely not," Jiang Misha replied. Song Jingyun thought for a moment and said, "Since I only traveled here after I died, can I still go back if I die now? If you're not afraid of dying completely, you can give it a try." Song Jingyun, feeling lost in thought, pinched out the budding idea in her mind and then asked, "Yes, you told me earlier that I was a son.in.law, so what exactly is a son.in.law?" Here, when a man and a woman become husband and wife, it is usually the woman who resides in the man's house. Men like you who come to the woman's house are called son.in.law. Jiang Misha patiently answered, "A son.in.law needs to serve his wife and parents-in-law, obey their orders, otherwise he will not abide by his duty and will be punished." How to punish? Song Jingyun's voice became a bit faint. Depending on the situation, the punishment may be kneeling and hitting the board. If the situation is serious. Jiang Mi paused for a moment, he may be burned to death. Song Jingyun. Simple and rough. After a moment of silence, Song Jingyun whispered, "I will listen to you and your parents." There was a hint of flattery in the tone. Jiang Misha nodded and said, "Hurry up and go to bed. You need to wake up early tomorrow." Song Jingyun turned over. Jiang Misha reached out and touched her nose. It's not that she deliberately wanted to scare people, it's really Song Jingyun's special situation. He knows nothing about this world, and if he behaves too abnormally and is treated as an outsider in this world that worships ghosts and gods, there is a high possibility of life-threatening consequences. Scaring and feeling hesitant can lead to a sense of propriety in one's actions, but rather a form of protection. Jiang Misha closed her eyes. The next day, the rooster crowed 3 times, and the morning light in the east was faint. Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi got up busy, and Jiang Misha also called Song Jingyun to get up and started teaching him how to dress, brush his teeth and mouth with willow twigs, wash his face with water, and comb his hair into a bun. The first few tasks went very smoothly, but for this last one, Song Jingyun was a bit flustered. A head of green silk was combed in a mess by him. For the first time learning, the requirements should not be too high. Jiang Misha decided to do it herself and help him tie his hair bun. "Thank you." Song Jingyun felt a bit embarrassed. "You don't need to be polite." Jiang Misha took a comb and casually took a polished smooth wooden stick to fix her hair. "Alright, let's go out. My parents just called out to eat, don't make them wait in a hurry," she said. "Okay." Song Jingyun followed Jiang Misha and walked outside. Previously, he had been inside the room and felt somewhat secure. Now, as she was about to open the door and go outside to actually come into contact with his completely unknown world, Song Jingyun still felt a bit uneasy. His palms were sweating, and he instinctively grabbed Jiang Misha's sleeve. This little son.in.law is really cowardly. However, the appearance of the little son.in.law as a chick made Jiang Misha's heart burst with the love of her old mother. Reaching out and patting his shoulder, Jiang Misha spoke confidently, "Don't be afraid, with me around, it's okay." With her around, it's okay. The girl's voice is clear and gentle, like the spring breeze brushing her face. Song Jingyun felt relieved for a moment and loosened Jiang Misha's sleeves. Take a closer look at how I do it on a daily basis, learn from it, and gradually get along with others, Jiang Misha added. Okay. Song Jingyun responded, took a deep breath, and boldly followed Jiang Misha to the yard. Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi were sitting at a small table waiting when they saw Song Jingyun following Jiang Misha step by step and glanced at each other. It seems that the son-in-law is very clingy to his daughter. Also very obedient to her. That's how it works. The couple exchanged eye contact for a while, understood and didn't say much in person, only greeting Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun to sit down. Lu placed the steamed egg custard in front of the two of them and said, "This is yours. I ordered some sesame oil, hurry up and eat it." The fresh and tender egg custard had a faint aroma, only the two of them had it, clearly opening a small stove for them. Looking at the simple and kind old couple, Jiang Misha picked up the egg custard and scooped a spoonful for Lu Shi. "Mom, eat it." Song Jingyun was already hungry and was about to pick up the egg custard to eat. Seeing Jiang Misha like this, she remembered what she had just instructed her to do and learned from her. After some thought, she grabbed the spoon in her hand and scooped up a spoonful of stewed egg custard, then sent it to Jiang Yucheng's mouth. "Dad, eat it." "Good guy." Jiang Yucheng was so startled that he almost spilled congee water out of the bowl he was holding. After stabilizing her figure, she looked at Song Jingyun with a worried expression on her face. It is only natural for this daughter to show filial piety to her mother, and it is also appropriate for her son-in-law to show filial piety to her father-in-law. However, this son-in-law reached out to feed his father-in-law egg custard cough. For a moment, it's hard to accept. Song Jingyun was momentarily stunned. Jiang Misha fed her mother, and her face was full of laughter. He fed his father, and his father was so scared that he ran far away. Is something wrong? Song Jingyun was a bit flustered. Jiang Yucheng looked at Song Jingyun, who was scared and silly, and felt a bit embarrassed. He only blamed himself for letting down his child's kindness and quickly explained, "It's okay. Dad knows you're filial, but he doesn't like egg custard. Whenever he smells the smell of this egg, he gets annoyed. Don't worry about me, just eat it yourself. Thank you for the 10,000 yuan reward for, I love eating almonds, the 2,000 yuan reward for, remembering summer blossoms, the 1,500 yuan reward for, Qiong Ru, and the 501 yuan reward for, Yin Zhu Nian Bing. Thank you for your support. Little ones rewards and updates of 10,000 yuan will be released at 12 o'clock, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Eccentric Eyes, I love eating almonds for 10,000 renminbi and more. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Eccentric Eyes, I love eating almonds for 10,000 renminbi and more. Oh, Song Jingyun saw this and then gave the egg custard to her mouth. Jiang Yucheng's mood was complicated, but after a moment, he was also quite happy. Although this child may be foolish, he is filial from the bottom of his heart, and overall he is still pretty good. Lu's face was also filled with satisfaction, and he stuffed wild vegetable cakes into Song Jingyun's hand, only asking him to eat more. The egg custard is smooth and tender, with an excellent taste on the palate. Song Jingyun increasingly felt that food was quite magical. Not only diverse, but also with different flavors. Song Jingyun silently recorded an account in her heart. It's about the taste of food. After a breakfast, Song Jingyun kept his nose to the grindstone congee without spilling any, and ate it clean. He even helped Jiang Misha pick up bowls and chopsticks after eating. Jiang Misha was pleased with the results of her teaching, while Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi felt that this little son-in-law's brain still had some salvation. In short, all three of them are very reassured. After tidying up, Jiang Yucheng and Lu went out with baskets and sickles to cut the thorns and instructed Jiang Misha to take Song Jingyun to watch the house. Jiang Misha readily agreed and took advantage of this opportunity to take Song Jingyun around the house and nearby, teaching him how to get to know things. This is a poplar, locust tree, soapberry tree. This is a water tank, this is a wooden bucket. Usually, we use a wooden bucket to fetch water from the water tank, which is used for eating, drinking, and washing clothes. This is a chicken that is raised at home and can lay eggs. By the way, the egg custard you eat in the morning is made from the eggs it lays. When you feed the chicken, you use the bran there. Chicken laying eggs, egg making custard, custard is very delicious. Song Jingyun nodded and said, "Can I help feed the chickens in the future?" "Sure, but you can't feed too much. Feeding too much chicken can easily make you die," Jiang Misha reminded. "When you need to be fed, I'll call you again." Oh, Song Jingyun scratched her ear. It seems that feeding chickens is a very complex matter. This was originally a pigsty, but last year our little pig died and we didn't buy it again. This is a stone mill here. The wheat you collect, such as wheat sticks, can be ground into flour and eaten. What is a wheat stick? I'll teach you how to recognize it when it's in the field. Two people, one patiently teaching and the other earnestly studying, are quite harmonious. Moreover, Song Jingyun is not slow in learning, and Jiang Misha also has a sense of achievement, teaching with great enthusiasm. Sister Lu. Jiang Chunyu ran over excitedly, holding a bamboo basket in his hand and stuffing it into Jiang Misha's hand. "My mother asked me to give it to your family." In the bamboo basket, there is a basket of green spinach. At the beginning of April, it was the time when green leafy vegetables were growing vigorously, and in the rural vegetable fields, there were patches of lush greenery. However, most of the vegetables in the vegetable field are not willing to be eaten by the family. They pick the well-grown ones and take them to the town or county town to exchange for some silver, soy sauce, vinegar, etc. Only those with poor appearance that cannot be sold are left for their own consumption. This basket of spinach has tender leaves and plump stems, and it looks very good. Jiang Misha picked up the bamboo basket and felt that the weight was not right. She reached down to dig and saw a layer of eggs laid at the bottom of the basket. "There are about 10. Take it back and keep it for your own consumption," Jiang Misha pushed back. "My mother asked me to bring it over, but if I take it back, I will get noisy." Jiang Chunyu lowered her voice and said, "My mother heard that my sixth brother-in-law is awake. She asked me to bring it over and have her sixth sister and sixth brother-in-law repair her body. Sixth sister, please don't make a fuss. My mother asked me to come, but she doesn't want the second room to listen. Otherwise, Auntie too should be saying that my mother is biased outside. There are many chickens fed at home, so there is no shortage of eggs. Besides, Sister Lu has made me more money these days than just these eggs. Sister Lu, please accept them with peace of mind." Okay, Jiang Misha didn't refuse anymore. She carried the bamboo basket into the room, took out the spinach and eggs, and returned the empty bamboo basket to Jiang Chunyu. Seeing Jiang Chunyu holding a bamboo fork in his hand again, Jiang Misha was a little curious and said, "What are you going to do?" "Yesterday, a chubby guy caught a big grass carp in the river and showed it off in front of me for a long time. I was furious and wanted to go to the river to try my luck." Jiang Chunyu grinned and said, "Sister Lu, do you want to go? The fish in this spring day are easy to catch. If you catch them, you can stew fish soup when you come back." Jiang Misha pondered for a moment and nodded, "All right, I happen to go to the river and bring back 2 buckets of water." Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi are busy with their family life. Although she has to take care of Song Jingyun now, she cannot do nothing. Coincidentally, I took Song Jingyun out for a walk and learned more things. Furthermore, just like Jiang Chunyu said, if you are lucky enough to catch a fish, you can also have a tooth hunting ceremony. Jiang Misha felt that there were many benefits, so she took a pole, wooden bucket, and bamboo fork, and also took an empty basket for Song Jingyun to carry, following Jiang Chunyu to the riverbank. The river is to the west of the village, not far away, and it only takes a cup of tea to reach the ground. At this moment it is April and it has not yet reached the rainy season. The river is not wide, and water flows cold and cool. The river water is clear and is the main source of food, drink, and irrigation for Jiangjia village and several nearby villages. At this time, some people come to the river to fetch water, or women come to the riverbank with pots to wash clothes. There are even children like Jiang Chunyu, holding shrimp baskets and bamboo forks to try their luck. The people in Jiangjia village are familiar with each other. Seeing Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun, they greeted each other with a smile. Oh, Xiaya's son Darin.Law has also woken up. Is he okay now? The doctor has looked at it and said it's okay. Thank you, Aunt Song, for remembering. Jiang Misha replied with a smile. Seeing Jiang Misha's eloquent words, Song smiled and smacked her lips. Miss Xia has become even more clever. Well, I heard this very eloquently and also liked it very well. Meng, who was beside Song, soaked her clothes in the river. My parents also say the same, saying it's a blessing from heaven and a blessing from Bodhisattva. Jiang Misha smiled and touched Song Jingyun beside her. These are Aunt Song and Sister Meng. Aunt Song, Sister Meng. Song Jingyun obediently called out. Although Song Jingyun looked timid and didn't speak loudly, she looked white and pure, and was very likable with her gentle demeanor. She just smiled and said, "Good child, when we come to Jiangjia village, we will be a family now. Whatever happens, just talk." Song Jingyun thought for a moment and nodded. Aunt Song and Sister Meng are busy first, let's go fetch some water first. Jiang Misha pulled Song Jingyun and followed Jiang Chunyu upstream. There are few people upstream, it's easy to catch fish. The water is shallow, there are many aquatic plants, and fish like to come. Jiang Chunyu rolled up her pants, holding the bamboo fork in her hand, and slowly walked into the water, holding her breath and gazing intently underwater. The river is a living water, and there are many wild fish and shrimp. There was no movement on the water surface, and the fish quickly swam over. It was a small wild crucian carp, seemingly unaware of any danger, swimming back and forth by Jiang Chunyu's legs. Jiang Chunyu worked hard, gritted his teeth, and clenched the bamboo fork in his hand, stabbing it downwards. Requesting recommendation tickets, collecting, and little ones can leave more messages to strive to reach the top of the new book list. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Bear Child. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Bear Child. Unfortunately, the fork was off and the fish slipped away. Jiang Chunyu remained unyielding and said, "It's okay, I'll come back." Then hold your breath and wait for the fish to swim to your side, then stab the bamboo fork. The fish has run away again. "It's okay, I'm still here," Jiang Chunyu gritted his teeth. "The fish has run away again. I'm still here." The fish ran away again. Jiang Chunyu. This fish is really infuriating. When Jiang Chunyu missed the fish with his fork again, he felt extremely depressed and angrily threw the bamboo fork in his hand onto the ground. If the fish is well forked, even if they are 3 chubby, they won't show off in front of you. Jiang Misha pursed her lips and smiled. The thought of San Pang's proud appearance made Jiang Chunyu even more uncomfortable. Next to her, Song Jingyun, lost in thought, picked up the bamboo fork that Jiang Chunyu had placed on the ground, carefully examined it, and even made a few downward thrusts. "Do you want to give it a try?" Jiang Misha asked. Song Jingyun nodded. "Then give it a try." Jiang Misha helped Song Jingyun roll up her sleeves and pants. The best way to get in touch with this world is to try more. Jiang Misha believes that for things with low trial and error costs, it is still possible to provide practical education for the son. In law. Song Jingyun learned from the appearance of Jiang Chunyu just now and walked towards the river. She didn't stop until the water ran out of her knees. After the person stopped, the water quickly calmed down and the fish swam over. Song Jingyun squinted her eyes slightly, grabbed the bamboo fork in her hand, and stabbed it into the water. Suddenly, a stone flew over. Puff! The splashing water fell on Song Jingyun's face, and the water immediately dazzled her eyes. And the fish was frightened and twisted its tail to swim away. Who is that? Seeing someone causing trouble, Jiang Chunyu was a bit angry and looked around for a moment. The culprit was crouching on the shore, laughing back and forth as he saw the plan succeed. It's a group of children in their 80s and 90s, led by a person named Sun Ergu. He bullies children on weekdays, snatches snacks from other children, and steals radishes and persimmons from other people's fields, earning him a notorious reputation. Jiang Chunyu's apple tree was also huahua by Sun Ergu. At first glance, he couldn't help but feel angry and said, "What are you doing? You scared away my brother-in-law's fish." Brother-in-law? That's son-in-law. Sun Ergu sneered, "Come on, he can't stop without scaring him away. If he can become a son-in-law in a fool's house, I guess he's also a fool. I've never heard of a fool being able to fork a fish. My sixth sister is not a fool." Jiang Chunyu shouted. "A fool is a fool, can we still change? I saw her running around the village with a stone mill on her back a few days ago." Another person named Sun Zhuzhu slapped her thigh and laughed wildly. "That was before. It's not now." Jiang Chunyu blushed. "One day is, a lifetime is, your sixth sister is a fool, a fool, a fool is a fool." Sun Ergu and Sun Zhuzhu laughed. "You." Jiang Chunyu stomped her feet in anger. "What, you want to fight?" Sun Ergu spat out the dog-tail grass in his mouth and walked up to Jiang Chunyu, sneering. "You're just a small body, you can't even compare to me with a finger." After speaking, Sun Ergu suddenly gave a sudden push. Jiang Chunyu was unprepared and stumbled into the water, splashing a large puddle of water and soaking himself wet. Sun Ergu didn't stop and pressed Jiang Chunyu's head down, drowning in the water while cursing, "I've been unhappy with you for a long time. Last time, I picked an apple from your house and even caused trouble in my house. I was whipped and said, 'How dare you?'" Jiang Chunyu was choked heavily and kept struggling. "At such a young age, I just want to bully and be so ruthless in my actions." Jiang Misha walked over with a gloomy expression on her face. Sun Zhuzhu reached out to stop him and said, "Oh my, you also want to be." Before the word "drowned" could be spoken, Sun Zhua felt his neck lifted and his feet lifted off the ground. Jiang Misha grabbed Sun Ergu next to her and dragged the two of them into the water. At a slightly deeper point in the water, with lightning speed, he pressed their heads into the water. Sun Ergu and Sun Zhua struggled together, but couldn't break free at all. It's not that they are weak, but that Jiang Misha is extremely strong. As Sun Zhua said earlier, she used to be the master who ran with a stone mill on her back. Due to the love of Jiang Yucheng and Lu Shi, everything in the family was tightly attached to her, and she was not lacking in meat. However, since childhood, she was teased by other children, who often asked her to climb trees, move stones, and carry people on her back. The twists and turns of her behavior led to her developing strength all over her body. At this moment, Jiang Misha is tidying up two people, feeling like tidying up two little chicks. Gulu gulu gulu. Sun Ergu and Sun Zhuzhu struggled harder and couldn't maintain their balance. They drank water more easily, almost out of breath, and soon felt half full. "Fool, let go of the two of them." The other children who followed quickly gathered around, "If you keep drowning, something will happen. They all say I'm a fool." A fool's actions are not insignificant, but they don't care if something happens or not. Jiang Misha tugged at the corner of her mouth. Just now they were submerged in the spring rain, and you didn't say anything, and you didn't care if something happened or not. Are you in a hurry now? Don't worry, it's your turn later. Yeah, a fool's move is not light or heavy. And even fools don't care about that much. They've drowned them now, and they'll have to drown them again later. The remaining children became more and more scared as they thought, and didn't care about Sun Ergu and Sun Juju. Wow, they screamed and ran away in all directions. And Jiang Misha looked at the two people in her hand drinking water almost as well, and picked them up slightly, letting them show some heads. You idiot, how dare you drown me? Sun Ergu shouted angrily. It seems that there is not enough flooding. Jiang Misha once again pressed the two people in. After a moment, he picked it up again. Wang baduzi, lousy. Gulu gulu. After 2 or 3 consecutive attempts, Sun Juju beside him felt extremely depressed. Sun Ergu cursed and you drowned him. He didn't curse again, why did he still drown him? I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes following my grandson Ergu today. After being pressed twice again, Sun Ergu finally changed from cursing to begging for mercy. Jiang Misha looked around and then picked up the two people and threw them to the shore. Sun Ergu and Sun Ju sucked heavily in their breath, and when they looked at Jiang Misha again, there was no longer the previous ridicule and contempt, but instead a face full of fear and fear. What are you looking at me for? Why, I haven't had enough to drink yet. Jiang Misha rolled up her sleeves. Then come and have some more to drink. Don't. Sun Ergu and Sun Juju hurriedly climbed back. They don't want to be submerged again. I can't breathe anymore, water keeps pouring into my mouth and nose, and I can't shout out loud. I just feel like my body is slowly losing strength and my mind is blank. It's really scary. Kill them and they don't even want to do it again. Do you dare to bully people in the future? Jiang Misha glanced and asked. I dare not. Sun Ergu hurriedly said, not only will I no longer bully people, but in the future, I will see who bullies people again. My son Ergu will be the first to have trouble with him. My grandson is the second pillar. Suppressing violence with violence has a significant effect. Jiang Misha was very satisfied with the transformation of these two people, and then went to see Song Jingyun learn how to fork fish. Sun Ergu and Sun Zhuo were busy compensating Jiang Chunyu, nodding and bowing, with words like, I dare not do it again, and, I'm sorry, all over. There are slight changes in this chapter, please refresh it again and look back. The changes were made on June 11, 2022 at 10:45 a.m. Thank you to Jojo Su Xiaozhen for giving a reward of 5,000 yuan, thank you to JS Your Beauty for giving a reward of 2,000 yuan, thank you to Grass Fragrance 1 for giving a reward of 500 yuan, thank you for your support, little ones. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Good luck. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Good luck. Sister Gang Lu has already avenged him, and now Sun Ergu and Sun Zhuo have a good attitude. Jiang Chunyu waved his hand and said, alright, remember what you two said in the future, don't bully anyone anymore. Don't worry, definitely not. Sun Ergu and Sun Juju nodded like pounding garlic. Seeing that Jiang Chunyu no longer pursued them, the two also breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing Jiang Misha look at Song Jingyun's fork in the fish again, she timidly said, so what, Miss Misha, the fish essence here is very good, and you can't even fork it. My brother Law may have to work hard here for nothing. Yesterday, when I was 3 chubby, I had a fork. The eldest grass carp was talking about a fork here, Jiang Chunyu retorted. That fish was the one he traded his cat cubs for yesterday, Sun Ergu pouted. I saw all of them yesterday. This guy, the fish he bought himself, even talks about having a nose and eyes, saying it was the fish he forked himself, and even saying that in order to fork the fish, his feet were scratched by the stones at the bottom of the river. It's just nonsense. Jiang Chunyu gritted his teeth and said, see how I'll deal with him when I go back. Can't you find any fish here? Then don't let the little son.in.law waste his efforts here. Jiang Misha placed her hand on her mouth, ready to shout out to Song Jingyan to come back. Before she could even open her mouth, she heard a shudder sound as Song Jingyan's bamboo fork plunged into the water. When she lifted it again, a 6 or 7 inch long crucian carp was stuck on the wet bamboo fork. The crucian carp was forked and left the water, curling its body back and forth. Jiang Misha saw the situation and took a basket over, asking Song Jingyan to put the fish in. Not bad, not bad. Jiang Misha was very pleased and praised repeatedly, the first time I tried to fork a fish, I was able to do it. You're really amazing. Encouraged, Song Jingyan's face was full of excitement, holding a bamboo fork and continuing to search for fish. 6 brother.in.law forked a fish. Jiang Chunyu was also overjoyed and glanced at Sun Ergu and Sun Zhuo. Didn't you two just say you couldn't fork a fish, right? It's really impossible to fork it, Sun Ergu quickly explained. I've been forking the fish with Zhu and I don't know how many times we've forked it, but we haven't forked a single one, have we, Zhu? Yes, I really haven't even crossed a single fish hair, Sun Zhu nodded as if pounding garlic. Judging from their serious demeanor, it doesn't seem like they're lying. When he first came to fork a fish, he had to put in a lot of effort and couldn't even find a single one, but now Song Jingyan has suddenly forked a fish. How to explain this? Maybe it's luck, Sun Ergu boldly guessed. Probably. Before Jiang Chunyu could finish speaking, he heard a shwa sound and looked up to see Song Jingyan's bamboo fork hitting another fish. This fish looks even bigger than the one just now, about a foot long, and it's not a crucian carp, but a wild grass carp. This big fish already has some meat on it. Take it back and cook it, it's a real meat dish. Sun Zhu's eyes looked a bit straight, this luck is really good. Sun Ergu and Jiang Chunyu nodded repeatedly. Next, the third, fourth, fifth. Not long after, there were already 7 or 8 fish in Jiang Misha's basket, each one bigger and heavier. Even the interval between Song Jingyan's fork and the fish is getting shorter and shorter. Song Jingyan wiped a handful of sweat from her forehead as she put another fish on the bamboo fork into the basket. Almost there, these fish are enough for our family to eat for 2 days, said Jiang Misha. Okay. Song Jingyan was also a bit tired at the moment, so she picked up a bamboo fork and supported Jiang Misha's outstretched hand as she walked towards the shore. 6 brother.in.law, you're really amazing. Jiang Chunyu looked at Song Jingyan with stars all over his eyes. Where did you learn this fork fish skill? Teach me too. Where did you learn it? Song Jingyan scratched her ear. Didn't I just learn from you? 6 brother.in.law, stop joking, Jiang Chunyu waved his hand. He hasn't caught a single fish, what should we learn from him? I'm not joking, I just learned from you. Song Jingyan's face was full of seriousness. Jiang Chunyu suddenly felt a bit uneasy. Master can't catch a fish with a spear, my disciple is extremely skilled. His master really has some dishes. Take these 2 fish back. Jiang Misha picked up 2 big ones and put them into Jiang Chunyu's bamboo basket. This is not possible, Jiang Chunyu refused. This is the fish that my 6th brother.in.law worked hard to fork, and I cannot take it. If you don't have any fish in your hand, why go talk to San Pang about forking fish? As soon as Jiang Misha mentioned this, Jiang Chunyu suddenly came to his senses and said, that's it, then I'll put it away first. Jiang Misha pursed her lips and smiled, carrying the basket onto Song Jingyan's body. She also brought 2 wooden buckets filled with water, hung them on a pole, and put them on her back. Let's go home, she said, delightful. Jiang Chunyu picked up a bamboo basket and fork, followed Jiang Misha happily and walked home. After the 3 of them walked away, Sun Ergu and Sun Zhu breathed a sigh of relief and headed towards their own home. Never provoke that Jiang Misha in the future, Sun Ergu said on the way. It's really too cruel. Sun Zhuzhu nodded and said, I remember. And that little Sun Law, we can't provoke him either. Sun Zhuzhu nodded even harder and said, don't worry, you won't provoke anyone. Just kidding, this harpoon is so accurate, it must be a practitioner. If you start beating people, it will be even more brutal than Jiang Misha. Sun Zhuzhu trembled. When Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun arrived home, Jiang Yuqing and Lu Shi had already returned and were tidying up the thorns in the yard. When the two of them returned, Lu quickly welcomed them and reached out to pick up the pole from Jiang Misha's shoulder. When I came back to see that there was no one at home, I thought you were doing something, so I went out to look for them. But when I met your sister Law Meng, she said she had gone to fetch water by the river. Seeing that the water tank at home is a bit shallow, I'll go pick some water. The provincial father still needs to go for a run, Jiang Misha laughed. Her daughter was filial, and Lu was happy in her heart. She smiled and narrowed her eyes. And when she saw several fish in the basket carried by Song Jingyun, she was even more surprised and said, so many fish. These fish are all forked with bamboo by Jingyun. Jiang Misha truthfully told Lu Shi the story of Jiang Chunyu bringing spinach and eggs, as well as her and Song Jingyun following Jiang Chunyu to fetch water and fork fish by the river. Lu and Jiang Yuqing praised Jiang Misha for handling Jiang Chunyu's 2 fish properly, and even praised Song Jingyun for having so many fish. Jingyun is really capable, they said, isn't it? It's very capable. Jiang Misha's mouth curled up and said, others can't even fork a fish. Jingyun can fork so many at once, it's really impressive. Little Sun Law is so capable, we need to praise and encourage him. And as Song Jingyun listened to the family's praise of him, she scratched the back of her head with some embarrassment. With so many fish, Lu began to tidy up. Scrape fish scales, cut open the stomach, wash thoroughly. There are many fish, stew 2 at noon, and spread the remaining ones evenly with salt to hang up. Throw them away and eat slowly afterwards. The stewed ones were the 2 largest grass carp, which had quite a lot of meat. It was a small pot, and one person closed a bowl full of fish meat. There are not many ingredients at home, and the fish stew is also simple, but the advantage is that this fish is wild river fish, the river water is clear enough, and the fish stew is long enough. The fish meat tastes soft and tender, and the soup tastes even more delicious. Jiang Misha was afraid that her son Law might get stuck in the throat with fish bones, so she helped him pick up fish meat without bones and taught him how to spit out fish bones. Song Jingyun learned very quickly and was able to filter out the fish bones from between her teeth smoothly. After eating a few pieces of fish and drinking a few bites of fish soup, Song Jingyun squinted her eyes. This fish is really delicious, even better than egg custard. There are slight changes in the previous chapter, please refresh and look back. The changes were made on June 11, 2022 at 10:55. Thank you for the reward of 2,000 yuan for the Big Sun, thank you for the monthly ticket issued by Music Fountain, and thank you for your lovely support. The new book list has already reached 8th place. Those who have votes, please vote for it. I also hope that you can leave more messages, Mommy. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The Lady is So Kind, Monthly Pass Plus Change, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The Lady is So Kind, Monthly Pass Plus Change. In the afternoon, Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun helped Jiang Yuqing and the Lu family clean up the thorns. The newly cut thorns contain too much water and have a brittle texture, making them unsuitable for weaving baskets. They need to be placed in the sunlight for a while before being blown in a well-ventilated area to achieve the best weaving effect. At dinner time, the wild vegetable stick noodles cake, stick grits congee, and a fried fish with golden color on both sides. The fried fish is also delicious. Song Jingyun squinted her eyes again. Sleeping at night, Jiang Misha, who had been tired all day, lay down and stretched lazily, preparing to have a beautiful sleep. Half asleep and half awake, Song Jingyun suddenly spoke up, "Do we have bamboo forks at home?" "I don't think so." Jiang Misha yawned. "Can we make a bamboo fork at home?" Song Jingyun asked. "It's possible, but what do you want a bamboo fork for?" Jiang Misha blinked. "Do you still want to go fork fish?" Song Jingyun nodded. He wants to go. Fish is very delicious. And the fork fish is also very simple. Jiang Misha didn't know Song Jingyun's thoughts, so she scratched her head with some worry. Could it be that today's encouragement for education is too strong, causing the little son-in-law to lose some of himself? Being able to fork so many fish today, in Jiang Misha's opinion, although it is also related to Song Jingyun's diligent study, there is a high probability that she is still lucky. If you go again, you may not have such good luck. But don't give it a try, it's not easy to give up. Jiang Misha thought for a while before making up her mind, "Okay, when I wake up early, I'll call my dad to make a bamboo fork." But Song Jingyun didn't think so much. When Jiang Misha agreed to make a bamboo fork for him, she grinned and said, The next morning, Jiang Misha talked to Jiang Yuqing about making bamboo forks. Jiang Yuqing didn't think too much, so he found a bamboo pole with a suitable length and thickness, and used a firewood cutter to sharpen it. The method of making a bamboo fork is not difficult, just sharpen both ends to be sharp enough. But just a few days after Jiang Misha improved, Song Jingyun didn't look very clever either. Jiang Yuqing was afraid that the sharp bamboo forks at both ends would hurt themselves, so he only shaved off one end. "Done, here it is." Jiang Yuqing patted the bamboo shavings on his body and handed the bamboo fork to Song Jingyun. Song Jingyun held it in her hand and tried to feel it. Not bad, it's more convenient than Jiang Chunyu's one. After dinner, Jiang Yuqing and Lu went to cut the jingtiao, while Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun went to the riverbank. Jiang Misha also took a bucket and prepared to fetch a few buckets of water to come back. Just here. Song Jingyun stopped by the river and started rolling up her sleeves and pants. Jiang Misha sat down on the shore looking for a stone, thinking carefully about how to comfort her little son-in-law when he returned dejected later. But after a quarter of an hour has passed, Jiang Misha remained silent for a long time as she looked at the three not too small wild carp and grass carp in the basket. Is this little son-in-law so excellent? Jiang Misha scratched her ear and looked at Song Jingyun suspiciously. Are you very powerful on your planet? Which aspect are you referring to? Song Jingyun took down the fourth fish from her harpoon and threw it into the basket. Jiang Misha thought for a moment and said, for example, skills. Kung Fu. Fighting. The forked fish are all so smooth, can't they still be the master of the four directions in the interstellar realm? Our galaxy is a very peaceful galaxy and has never been at war. Won't we start a war just because of seizing supplies, energy, and all these things? No, the energy needed for the operation of each planet can be collected near the nebula. The method of collection is simple, just start the energy collection device. Energy is inexhaustible, and each planet requires different types of energy, which needs to be converted into its own suitable energy through energy collectors. Simply put, it is our planet's energy. Other planets have no use, and it is useless to seize the energy collected from other planets. Song Jingyun explained, moreover, it takes a long time for our galaxy to reach equilibrium. If any problem occurs on one planet that breaks the balance, the entire galaxy may face catastrophic consequences. Therefore, not only will there be no energy-grabbing situation, but residents of nearby planets will provide assistance when other planets have insufficient energy collection due to laziness. Galaxy inspectors will also supervise the energy collection work of their planets to ensure the stability and order of the entire galaxy. I see. Jiang Misha suddenly realized. The future interstellar space is so harmonious. However, This also explains why the little sun.in.law comes from interstellar space but lacks courage. Another fish swam over, and Song Jingyun was busy going to fork the fish. As expected, it smoothly crossed into another one. We have stewed fish meat for lunch again. He wants to eat 2 bowls today. As Jiang Misha walked back carrying 2 large buckets of water, Song Jingyun carried a basket full of various fish, half of which were also filled with joy. When they returned home, Jiang Yuqing and Lu Shi were also surprised. Today's fish are almost twice as many as yesterday's. At noon, as usual, Lu prepared to stew fish, and due to the abundance of fish, she decided to stew 3 more. As the head of the household, you can say that Jing Yun looks silly, thin and small, capable to no small extent. If Song Jingyun was able to fork so many fish yesterday because of luck, and still able to fork so many fish today, it is strength. The sun.in.law is capable, and the Lu family is filled with joy. So I said, it's a good thing that Jingyun doesn't remember things anymore. He has both ability and has been taught by Xiaoxia to recognize people and things. If he has the ability in the future, he will also be good to Xiaoxia. Jiang Yuqing said. At this moment, Lu also agreed and nodded in agreement. Simmer 3 larger fish at noon, and I'll scoop out a basin and send it to my sister.in.law's house later. There was an accident at home, and the whole family came forward to help make arrangements. Big brother Jiang Youfu also brought a string of money and asked him to use it first. Sister-in-law, Yang, not to mention that due to the inconvenience of the second room, she often asked Jiang Chunyu to bring things over. It is appropriate to send some stewed fish as a gesture of gratitude. Jiang Yuqing nodded and said, when you go, take the newly made basket of thorns over as well. It's for use at home. Cheng. Lu responded and said, tomorrow there will be a market in the town. Hold your hands tightly in the afternoon and make up everything. Tomorrow, go to the town to catch up with a market. I thought to myself, there are so many fish in this house that I can't finish them for a while. Why not take some tomorrow to exchange for money and cut 2 pounds of pork for my child to eat? Although fish is also meat to eat, the meat is not fragrant enough and there are many thorns. I didn't enjoy it enough to satisfy my craving. I sold it for money to buy pork, but it can also be used for a tooth-making ceremony. At least satisfy the 2 children's cravings and nourish their bodies. Jiang Yuqing thinks it's feasible. Song Jingyun, who was feeding chickens with Jiang Misha in the yard, heard about going to the market to sell fish in exchange for pork and asked Jiang Misha, is pork delicious? It's delicious. Food animal Jiang Misha nodded eagerly, especially the pork belly, it's best to eat. More delicious than stewed fish. Of course. Jiang Misha was very certain, 5-flour pork tastes much more fragrant than fish, and it tastes delicious no matter how you eat it. How does it taste to eat? Song Jingyun's eyes lit up and she said, can I go to the market together tomorrow? He wants to see what kind of pork tastes good no matter how it is eaten. Jiang Misha blinked her eyes. She also wants to go to the market. Life at home is poor, and she wants to go to the town to take a look, observe the market situation, and find a way to make a living. I'll go talk to my parents. Jiang Misha poured the sticky sorghum bran mixed with water from the wooden basin into the chicken trough, and then went to search for Jiang Yuqing, who said about going to the market. Song Jingyun stood still for a moment, lost in thought. His wife is really kind to him. I forgot about the cancellation of 4 times the monthly pass on the website. At that time, when saving the manuscript, it was written as 100 monthly passes plus 1 change, which felt overwhelming. Ahem, the author was not confident enough in himself, so he changed it to 30 monthly passes plus 1 change. The data is based on the author's backend, because each platform only displays the number of monthly passes on each platform. The author's backend displays the total number of monthly passes. At present, there are 31 monthly tickets, so an additional one will be added. The author is still diligent. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Market Rush. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 9 Market Rush. He said he wanted to go to the market, so she went to tell her father about it. Song Jingyun felt warm in her heart. And of course, Jiang Yuqing and Lu Shi have no objection to the two children going to the market. There were quite a few Jingtiao baskets made this time, but Jiang Yuqing couldn't finish them all by himself. He had to carry the fish with him, and the fish was forked by Song Jingyun. He took the two children to the market to see the excitement and bought a snack to eat, which was quite good. So in the afternoon of that day, Jiang Yuqing and Lu quickly and slowly woven the thorns into baskets and baskets. After waking up the next morning and having breakfast early, Jiang Yuqing left the door carrying a lot of things with Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun. It takes an hour to walk from Jiangjia village to Shanglin town. If you take a car, the time is halved. However, taking the ox cart costs 1 penny per person, and so many things also take up space, so we need to charge an additional 2 cents. This trip will cost 5 won. Jiang Yuqing felt a bit heartbroken, but when he thought about his newly recovered daughter and his seemingly thin and weak little son. Law, he gritted his teeth and stopped Jiang San's cart in the same village, then sat on it. No matter how hard it is, we can't be bitter with our children. Jiang San and Jiang Yuqing are about the age of adulthood, and the two have grown up together. However, Jiang San has a considerable seniority, and when it comes to Jiang Yuqing, he still needs to call him uncle. Watching Jiang Yuqing move things into the car, Jiang San grinned and joked. You are usually very stingy. The hemp rope used to tie the basket has torn your shoulder and you are unwilling to sit back in the car. It's time for the sun to come out from the west. Uncle San, don't laugh at people either. The sun is still coming out from the east, isn't it, because there are so many things today? Jiang Yuqing started laughing. Where there are many things, it is clear that there are many people who are unwilling to let their daughters and son-in-law suffer. This Jiang Yuqing. Jiang San pursed his lips and took back 2 more won of the 5 won money given by Jiang Yuqing. Okay, today someone else asked me to pull a lot of things to the market. People can't sit anymore. Can you help me with some things on the way later and not fall off? This will also be my hard work allowance for you. Jiang Yuqing had a close relationship with Jiang San. Knowing his intentions, he didn't refuse and only accepted them, saying, okay. After packing the things and tying them firmly with thick hemp rope, Jiang San finally swung his whip. The ox cart swayed forward. In April, it is a time of neither cold nor hot. The spring breeze brushes against the face all the way, and the crops on both sides of the road are lush green. Listening to the chirping of birds can be described as very pleasant. Jiang Misha felt very comfortable, her eyes narrowed into a narrow slit. Song Jingyun was a bit excited. Although she kept silent all the way because she was afraid of being in the dark, her eyes kept rolling around, looking to the left, right, back. Mom, that person keeps looking at me, I'm so scared. There is also a cart on the right rear side, filled with people, women, and children. They go to the town together to buy soy sauce, vinegar, needles, and cloth. One of the 4 or 5-year-old girls, closest to Song Jingyun, panicked and crawled under her own mother's arm. The woman gently patted her daughter's back, comforted her in a low voice, and then glared fiercely at Song Jingyun. Song Jingyun naturally sensed the hostility of the other party, but she didn't understand what she had done wrong, and only looked at Jiang Misha inexplicably. There is a hint of grievance in my eyes. It's impolite to keep staring at others, especially if that person is from a girl's family, which is even more inappropriate. It's normal to treat you as a bad person, Jiang Misha reminded. Oh. Song Jingyun only lowered her head, looking at the dust that was raised when the axle rolled over the ground, and even twisted her sleeve in a tangled manner. He was just a little girl looking at people. The main thing is that the little girl is holding a cake in her hand and looking golden. The wild vegetables and pancakes we eat at home are all black and not as attractive as this one. And when the little girl bit into the cake, it made a popping sound and the food was still fragrant and sweet. That cake must be delicious. Jiang Misha didn't know Song Jinyan's thoughts, so she reached out and patted his shoulder. The ox cart traveled all the way to West Street in the town. There is a market on every 5th and 10th in the town, and now it is the 5th day of the Lunar New Year. Because there was a drizzle on the 30th of last month, although it was not heavy, it continued to rain for a whole day, which resulted in the failure of the market that day. Therefore, today's market is particularly lively. The market is located in the central street of the town, starting from the intersection and dividing into East-West streets. Most of the East Street sells cloth, food, and small items, while the West Street sells various livestock and agricultural tools such as cattle, sheep, and livestock, pots and pans, live chickens, and ducks. Jiang Misha and the others brought jingtiao baskets and fish, so they naturally set up their stall on a vacant lot on West Street. Jiang Yucheng used to often set up stalls and sell baskets, and he also knows many people here. Is this your daughter and son? Where are you, daughter and son? Law. I used to see you selling baskets on weekdays, but today you're still selling fish. Are you switching careers to fishing? The river is forked, exchange for some soy sauce and vinegar. Others are all fishing, and the fish they bring are all alive. You're all dead fish, why don't you ask for it? Why don't you offer me a cheaper price? You don't have enough cheap food to pick up. I've cleaned up this fish and even applied salt. I have to ask you for the salt money to make it. After some pleasantries and jokes, the sun rose and more people gradually gathered at the market. Everyone was also busy doing their own business. Exchange money when encountering a suitable buyer, and exchange items when encountering something you want. The jingtiao baskets brought by Jiang Yucheng are of different sizes, with the big ones being 12 won and the small ones being 8 won. The jingtiao baskets are all about the same size and cost 10 yuan without any bargaining. Jingtiao basket is a basic item that every household needs. Coupled with Jiang Yucheng, it can also be considered as a market item in the town for many years. The woven basket is sturdy, durable, and honest, and many people have an impression of him. And the impression is quite good. There are many people who come to see the jingtiao basket and jingtiao basket. They have sold 4 of them one by one, leaving 3. But the fish didn't sell quickly. It took so long to sell 2 small crucian carp. The buyers said they wanted to buy them back to stew soup for their postpartum daughter-in-law to drink. Then, no one paid attention. Even if Jiang Misha shouted here for a while, it was to no avail. Even Song Jinyan felt a bit disheartened. If you don't sell the fish, there won't be any silver money. Without silver money, you can't buy pork, and you can't eat that delicious pork belly. No matter how you eat it, it's okay, even if the fish can't be sold, take it back and eat it slowly yourself. Today, my father will also cut the meat for you. Jiang Yucheng comforted his daughter and son. In law, if a cow doesn't drink water, it can't press its head forcefully. If this fish can't be sold, there's no way. Jiang Misha can only sigh and say, okay. A live chicken seller beside him laughed and said, why don't you try the Fuyan restaurant? The crispy fish and vinegar fish made at that restaurant are the most delicious. Is it really a restaurant? Since we sell fish and vegetables, I guess we also need to buy fish. It's just right for you to send the fish there. Looking for book reviews and recommended tickets. Additionally, the daily update time has been changed to 7 a.m., end of this chapter. Chapter 10. People's words know you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. People's words know, my older brother is used to joking. A restaurant as big as Renfuyan restaurant is crowded with people who usually serve vegetables and meat. It seems that there are fixed sellers, so I can't just buy fish from outside. Jiang Yucheng waved his hand repeatedly. Song Jinyan scratched her head, thought for a while, and then rushed towards Jiang Misha, saying, why don't we go and give it a try? Jiang Mi hesitated for a moment and said, "It's okay. A dead horse is a living horse doctor. It's best to sell it, but if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Then come back and sell the fish. It's not a shame to not be able to make a deal." The two of them spoke to Jiang Yucheng, and Jiang Misha carried a fish basket and led Song Jingyun to the Fuyan restaurant. And the uncle who sold live chickens widened his eyes and grinned at Jiang Yucheng. "I said, your son.in.law is really interesting. I'll just make a joke and take it seriously. Do you really think that Fuyan restaurant lacks fish? If you say that, I also think there's something wrong with this little son.in.law. After being here for so long, he doesn't speak or make arrangements, relying solely on his daughter's busy work. Your son.in.law, shouldn't he have enough brains? He's a fool, right? I remember your daughter used to be not very skilled, but now that she has hired a son.in.law, her daughter has become better and her son.in.law has become a fool. Then your family really has a connection with fools. What are you talking about? It's hard to say that some people are foolish and have good luck. If the restaurant is just short of fish, why not buy it all? As far as I'm concerned, this day, it still came out from the east." The crowd burst into laughter. Those who come to the market to sell things are all for the sake of it. There are only a few types of farm products coming and going, and they all say that their peers are enemies. Moreover, Jiang Yucheng has two more enemies this time. Moreover, his baskets are of good quality and the asking price is not high. He always sells quickly, even if he is not an enemy. He looks a bit envious. However, Jiang Yucheng is honest and cannot find any faults in his daily life. At this moment, he grabs what he can say and naturally refuses to let go. Furthermore, this farmer has nothing to do during their leisure time, and there are always people who like to talk about their parents and those who are short, and take the stories of other people as interesting stories to discuss. If you are concerned, others will tease you, but it's just a joke. No one can even joke around. If we don't mind, it sounds really harsh. Jiang Yucheng was well aware of this matter, and his face was quite ugly, holding back a lot of anger. But he is clumsy and won't argue. At this moment, he can only squat in anger and look towards the Fuyan restaurant. I really hope that the heavens can open their eyes today. Coincidentally, the Lucky Luck restaurant is really short of fish. I bought the fish for 2 children, and also made those troublemakers shut up. And just as Jiang Yucheng was filled with anger in his heart, Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun returned. Look, the young couple who went to the Fuyan restaurant to sell fish are back. Someone shouted with a frown and eyes. Oh, come on, how much did it cost? Someone laughed and agreed. It was obvious that these people were speaking with a sharp tone, and with Jiang Yucheng's somewhat unpleasant expression and the subtle atmosphere at the moment, Jiang Misha could almost guess what had happened. Dad. Jiang Misha happily said, today we are really lucky. The Fuyan building happened to be collecting fish there. It was said that an old customer had ordered many crispy fish from the Fuyan building and had to pick them up early tomorrow. As a result, we collected all the fish in the market and confiscated enough. We were worried, but coincidentally, we carried the fish on our backs and went over. Fuyan Tower said that our fish were cleaned up, not small in size, and arrived in a timely manner. They calculated a good price and gave us 100 yuan, which was quite a lot. If we put this basket of fish as usual, it would be at most 80 or 90 yuan. Speaking of which, it's really thanks to Jingyun today. If it weren't for his suggestion to give it a try, I wouldn't have had the idea. But I still wanted to give it a try. It's better than sitting here foolishly. But it's still good to give it a try, otherwise I wouldn't have come across such a good thing. Jiang Misha spoke loudly, with a smile on her face, almost flying out. She is really happy. Originally, it was just a try, and even before asking, I was nervous and even prepared to be rejected. However, I never expected that the Fuyan restaurant would be overjoyed. Its appearance was no different from picking up a treasure. After all, whether to make money or not is secondary to the crispy fish ordered by old customers. The most crucial thing is to make it on time, otherwise the reputation will be ruined and the business will not continue in the future. Jiang Misha can understand the approach of Fuyan restaurant. And when these words fell, there was a silence around. Everyone, you look at me, I look at you, your face looks very ugly. Not only ugly, but also painful. Just now, I was joking about someone's son-in-law being foolish and not knowing how much he weighed. I casually went to the Fuyan restaurant to sell fish, but he actually sold the fish at a high price. Now it's their turn to laugh at them. I really wish I had found a crack in the ground to get in. Jiang Yucheng looked at others and instantly became quail, feeling very good. Otherwise, my daughter and son-in law are capable, he said, isn't that so? Others may not have such good luck. Jiang Misha smiled brightly like the sun in the sky. Uncle, do you think so? That's what's going on. The few people who were just joking the most were all looking silly now. They answered the conversation with a vague expression, but they were too embarrassed to even look at Jiang Misha. No face. Dad, we sold the basket and will cut the meat later. Jiang Misha laughed, we will have braised pork belly in brown sauce at noon. Cut the meat, put the pork, and have enough braised pork belly in brown sauce at noon. Jiang Yucheng patted his chest and said, especially Jingyun, we must eat more, thanks to you this time. Song Jingyun forked the fish, and it was his proposal to sell it at the Fuyan restaurant in order to sell it for such a good price. We must treat it well. Song Jingyun scratched her ear and said, by chance, I guess it's luck. Luck. The people present twitched their lips again. They also want such luck. The remaining 3 baskets were also sold without much effort. Jiang Yucheng carried the basket he had previously filled with fish and led Jiang Misha and Song Jingyun towards the meat shop. It's really early to close the stall today. We're the first to leave in this area, so it's embarrassing. Jiang Misha blinked her eyes as she left and put down this sentence. Is this what people say? The few people present wished to cover their hearts, their faces turning green. One of them frowned and looked at the smooth small stool polished in front of him. It's really strange today. It's almost noon and the market is about to disperse. This stool hasn't been sold yet. Isn't that right? In the past, all these live chickens were supposed to be sold out. Today, we only sold 2 of them, both of which are the smallest roosters, said the live chicken seller. Thank you to the Heart Like Dust 1666 book coins for the reward and the monthly pass. Thank you for your support, little ones. I also hope that those who have monthly tickets can vote for it. If you have more than 30 monthly tickets, there will be an additional fee. Momoda, end of this chapter.